Welcome everyone to this webinar brought to you by the Israel Defense and Security Forum, IDSF. In Hebrew, our name is Abitchonistim. IDSF is the leading Israeli organization advocating for strong strategic national security-oriented policies. We are a movement here in Israel of reserve officers and operators from all branches of the Israel Defense establishment who believe that strong national security priorities and staunch Zionism are necessary for Israel to be the eternal homeland of the Jewish people. Thank you to all of our viewers and supporters for tuning into these war briefings. It's very important to us at IDSF that we can share with you war updates and analysis about this war in Israel, and that we can connect our experts with you in these very direct and candid briefings. We are coming to you today from the Inbal Hotel in Jerusalem, who has kindly hosting this briefing. Hopefully the audio is decent. Thank you, of course, to Brigadier General Amir Avivi, founder and chairman of IDSF, for joining us, as well as Ariel Kahana, political correspondent for Israel Hayom. We'll begin with General Avivi. Please, can you share with us the updates right now in this war?
Yes, so as we expected, Hamas, when they saw that the ceasefire is not achieving what they thought it will achieve, meaning that it didn't achieve a bigger international pressure on Israel. It didn't achieve a reality where the government or the Israeli society are less resolute about continuing our goal to destroy Hamas. I think that at a certain point, Hamas felt that this process of releasing more and more hostages is making Israelis very happy, not less resolute. And after they had a few days to organize their forces, re-equip, regroup, replace commanders in their battalions, they felt that that's it, and therefore they stopped releasing hostages. And following that, the IDF almost immediately conducted a very big air attack that surprised them. And following that, we are starting basically to organize for the ground incursion, focusing on two main areas. One is finishing what we needed to do in the northern part of Gaza, the town of Sajaiya, Jibalia, and Zaytun. These are the three areas that we really still have many Hamas operatives that we need to deal with. While operating there, we found tunnels that are really unbelievable. You see cars driving inside the tunnel, huge tunnels, which go, by the way, all the way almost to the Israeli border. This is how they were able to massively move with cars and motorcycles and emerge in no time near our border and storm the border. They build huge tunnels, and also we see how deep the tunnels are. They are so deep that to hit a tunnel with an air attack, it's almost impossible. And this is why we have seen again and again air attacks in the past, which didn't really make that much difference. And the whole buildup of tunnels they did for 17 years pretty much stayed the same, although supposedly the army was shooting tunnels. It didn't really make that big difference. And this just explains how crucial it is to do ground incursion. You cannot really deal with that without taking over the area and then dealing with all this infrastructure. And I must say that it can take more than a year or even more to really find and destroy all the tunnels. It's really complicated. It's really deep. And this is a long-term project. And until we do that, people cannot go back, because these are huge tunnels that need to be exploded, and this is going to be a long process. The other area the IDF is focusing at the moment is Khan Yunis, which is in the south. So we are focusing on the north and the south, less on the center. There is a whole area in the center of Gaza, which we are attacking to in a certain extent from the air, but we are not really operating there at the moment. We're focusing more on the area of Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is basically really the main stronghold where the leadership of Hamas is at the moment. And the IDF is attacking fiercely this area. And they're preparing for the ground incursion in this area. At the same time, the moment the ceasefire ended in the south, immediately Hezbollah started shooting in the north. So we are attacking Hezbollah positions. Overall, I can say that there is not a big difference in the way Hezbollah acted before and now. Again, it's shooting of mortars, it's anti-tank missiles, and drones occasionally, but we don't see a major change. What worries us more is what the Houthis are doing, apprehending and attacking ships in the Red Sea. This is devastating for world trade, and it's also very bad for Israel trade because now all the Israeli ships are not going through the Suez Canal and the Red Sea, but going around Africa, and this means 30 days more. This means goods are going to take much more time for goods to arrive. This means also prices, they have to pay for the trip, and also insurance and all of that. This is a global issue, and I think there will need to be a solution to this problem. Israel supposedly attacked one of the places in Yemen. And nobody took responsibility from that, but it looks like an Israeli attack. And this is overall what's going on. I would say that in Israel, everybody is still very resolute and everybody wants to destroy Hamas, and people are happy that the IDF is attacking again. But I must say, yesterday I spent half a day in the Gaza division, going over all the plans, and I can say this is going to be a long war. Even just talking about Gaza, when you see really what's going on inside, and the fact that we are dealing with tens of thousands of terrorists, heavily armed, and with all these tunnels, this is a very long operation which will take many months. And really achieving a reality where Hamas is destroyed, it's a long-term process. And this is even not talking about the possibility of a war with Hezbollah, which is a completely different scale. So we need to understand that this is going to take time. Everybody is talking about what will happen with international pressure and so on. And I'm saying, listen, this is an existential war. If we don't win decisively in Gaza, we will probably be attacked from every single front we have. It's not something that can happen. We have to win decisively, and then hopefully be able to also build a coalition that will deal with the whole Iranian threat, all its proxies, and stabilize the Middle East. So it's the responsibility of the cabinet, the government, to be strong, not cede to international pressure, know how to explain the challenges that we are facing, and do the job. Thank you, Moshe.
Thank you so much, General Avivi. There's a little bit of noise in the background. Hope everyone can hear me. It's a great pleasure to be joined by Ariel Kahana again from Israel Hayom. I'm going to put Ariel's Twitter and Telegram, if you'd like to follow him, in the chat to get a lot of news. So everyone is, of course, encouraged to do that. Ariel, if we could start off, maybe tell us a little bit about how you think the ceasefire affected the war moving forward. Now we're back to fighting in Gaza, but is there any residual impact on Israeli society or the army itself in terms of having to recover from the ceasefire? You're on mute. You're on mute. If you can unmute yourself. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. It happens a lot in Zoom talks. So, hey, hello everyone. Thanks for having me. Just let me, I will go to your question. Just let me update that while we were talking here, there was sirens, actually missiles over Beersheba, and again in the north, in Kiryat Shmona. So the war keeps going on while we speak. It's not theoretic. It's very real here in Israel. Now, going to the ceasefire. So of course, I think everyone was very happy to see so many hostages coming back from Gaza. They suffered a lot over there, but at least now some of them, at least about half of them, a little bit less than half, are here. We still have a lot of people over there, including women and children and elderly, and of course young men and women. More than 100 people. If I'm not wrong, it's now about 130 hostages which are still in Hamas hands. Now the ceasefire, from one hand, you know, it was, I mean, I have some neighbors who came back from the war to see their families. I mean, people in the reserve units and so on. So from one side, it was kind of a pause. People, you know, could once again go back for half going to real life. But from the other hand, it's very hard to come back from your family, from your neighbors, from your community, back to war. So in this regard, I would say it was hard. My personal opinion is that we should not stop anymore until we achieve our goal. You know, it's not a game. Begin a war and stop a war. It doesn't go this way. And in any case, what Hamas wants us, I mean, if they are talking about another deal, those are the prices we cannot pay in any case. We cannot pay them at all. What we pay by now is 3 terrorists actually for one of our people. That means we actually sent to free more than 200 terrorists, young and women terrorists. We are experienced too much to know that some of them, maybe many of them, will come back to terror. And maybe it should be reminded that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, he was released 12 years ago in the Shalit deal because we wanted our soldier back. So we paid more than 1,000 terrorists that we let them go free. Yahya Sinwar was one of them, and he planned this horrible attack that we suffered from 2 months ago. So releasing terrorists is not an easy step for Israel, and at least in my opinion, we should not do it anymore. Another aspect, Moshe, for your questions, the way I see it is that after we had this pause, it gave, that's how it looks from here at least, it gave the international community, the international media, to focus more about what's going on in Gaza and less about the prices that Israel paid. It kind of, they forgot all the horrible things we went through, and now they're focusing about what's going on in Gaza. And from that aspect, it's not good. It's not good for Israel. It's right. It's 2 months. It's in now, or tomorrow is going to be 60 days, but we cannot forget what we were going through. That was actually a genocide, and all what they did to our people, to women, to children, to mothers, is unbelievable. And I'm sure this audience saw at least some of the pictures and know how horrible it was. We cannot forget that. And as much as people in Gaza are suffering, and I don't want them to suffer, but there is no other way to solve this problem, to take Hamas out of Gaza without a very strong military operation by Israel. There is no other choice. If we will not take out this cancer, it will not threaten only us, it will give inspiration to many other negative forces all around the world. We cannot forget that. So Israel has its own duty for its own sake to take Hamas out of Gaza. Otherwise, they will threaten us. But on top of that, I think it's an international interest to kill Hamas. I have no other word to describe it. With no other option, and the world has no other option than doing that. And that's why the American support, which is still going on, is so much critical and so much important for us. I think it's a moral position by the administration to keep supporting Israel. Yet, what we do here, and you are right, Moshe, that also happened during the pause. that we heard for the first time from a senior administration official, in this case it was Secretary Blinken, that we don't have months to keep go on with the war. So if not months, maybe that means weeks. It's not enough. It's not enough, as Amir described before. There is a lot of work to do. It's 30 years of building a strip of terror in Gaza. 30 years since the Oslo Accord in 1994, 29 years to be more accurate. So there is a lot of work to do, and that's why we need time. And if people can help about that, so we ask America not to limit us regarding the time, because it's not going to be easy. Let me just remind that the fight over Mosul against ISIS took 17 months to the international coalition, and that's quite from military point of view. It's a little bit it's similar battles. So we need the time. We are now less than 2 months today. Okay, tomorrow is going to be 2 months. So and in that case, in Mosul, it took 17, if I'm not wrong. So we need time, and when we need support, and we need more support. We need public support in the social networks and in the media, and in supporting the politicians, Congress members, administration, everyone. We still need your support. I know it's a lot of time, and people are tired. They want to go back to their regular life, etc. The war is still taking place, and it's not going to end soon.
The War Cabinet is meeting tonight. Any thoughts on the top issues they're going to discuss moving forward with this war?
So I'm sure they will discuss the next military moves, and Amir is familiar with that stuff more than I do. Regarding international aspects or diplomatic aspects, I think they will focus about the humanitarian issue. As I said before, the media is now focusing about it, and people here are feeling a need to find some solutions, because we want to take this pressure, take it down over our back. We want the international community to remember, as I said before, our goals and the risk we have, and that's why they will. That's what I understood. They're going to look for ways how to take it down a little bit, this challenge of the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. There is another aspect, and that is what's going to happen in Gaza in the day after. Although this day is very far from us. But that is another topic that the administration wants us to give some answers, and I guess they will at least try to look for some. It's not easy. There is no answer. There's no solution what to do there in the day after, because no one wants to take responsibility over Gaza. We don't want Gaza. Egypt don't want. America. No, nobody wants. And as we could see, the people of Gaza, when they had one opportunity to choose to go to elections, they choose Hamas. Hamas was elected in 2006 in free democratic elections. So we don't want the people of Gaza to choose their own regime as well. So that's a very serious problem. As far as I know, there is no result and no solution for that.
So as you said, this war is not going to be a short war. It potentially is going to drag on. So what is Israel supposed to do in order to retain international support? Meaning, at what point does the pressure from abroad get so strong that Israel feels the need to cave? What strategies can Israel do right now? Can media professionals like yourself do right now, potentially, to buy more time for the operations needed in Gaza?
So first of all, no matter what happens with the international community, we will keep fighting, and that is an Israeli consensus. We will keep going with the war until Hamas will break down, because we have no other choice. Again, if Hamas will stay in Gaza with some power to control Gaza Strip, with some military power to send missiles, to send terrorists to our cities and so on, that is a risk we cannot suffer anymore. And therefore, even if Biden will tomorrow call Netanyahu and tell him, that's it, Bibi, you have to stop here, Bibi will not listen. Bibi will tell him, Mr. President, this is an existential war for Israel. And although you are a good friend, but although you tell me to stop, I am not going to do it. And everyone will support him, because what we went through in Simchat Torah in October 6th was so awful that even if Biden or any other president or any other friend will tell us to stop, we cannot take their advice, because it's too risky for us. Now, what can be done and should be done is explaining, and that's what I'm trying to do as well, is explaining to people from outside why we have to keep going with this war. And if I can, I will go to one aspect which people are not talking about it enough, and that is the UNRWA agency, the Refugees Agency of the United Nations, which was supposed to solve the problem of what is called the Palestinian refugees from 1948. Okay, and this agency, instead of solving the problem, what they do is actually making the problem harder and bigger, because they educate the next generation to hate Israel and to fight Israel. And on top of that, in many cases, UNRWA teachers and UNRWA infrastructure help terror. Physically, they help terror. So that is just one aspect that we have to raise up to the public discussion and explain why the problem is still here, and why, if we will not do the right, if we will not take the right actions, why it will stay here for long, if we will keep doing the same things we have done for so many years. UNRWA is one problem. The Palestinian Authority is another problem. And I think when Netanyahu from one side and the administration from the other side are saying that we need a new PA, a new Palestinian Authority, they know what they are talking about, because the current Palestinian Authority is inciting for terror, just or almost like Hamas does. Okay, maybe the PA is not as brutal as Hamas is, but both sides, I mean, the PA and Hamas do not want Israel to exist as a Jewish state, and both sides are using the power of terror in one way or another, and both sides, and that's for sure, educate the next generation to hate Israel. So we cannot blank our eyes anymore with those problems. So all of those are issues that we must keep raise up, keep talking about, keep telling people that this hypocrisy, it must end. It must end now, because for so many years we took the chance. We in Israel, we took a chance by saying, oh, you know what, it's going to be okay. We are strong enough. It will be all right. Hamas is not that a threat. PA is not a threat, etc., etc. And we know how it ended. So this hypocrisy and this all of moving our sight from the reality, the way it is, it must end. So those are just some of the issues we have to deal with.
Okay, I want to ask you one final question, a little bit personal if I can. But before I do that, I just want to remind all of our viewers and supporters that if you appreciate these briefings that we do, it would be of great help to Habitronisten, to our movement, if you could share this briefing with a family member, with a friend, however you got here, however you signed up, whichever link you used, send it right now, send it after the briefing to someone so that they can also appreciate these briefings. And of course, check out Ariel Kahana's social media to follow him as well. So my question for you is, you mentioned all kinds of issues that Israel has to worry about, of course, in Gaza, the Palestinian Authority, UNRWA. What is your personal greatest fear in this time right now for Israel? What's the greatest threat that you can imagine that really keeps you up at night, that makes you scared of all of the things? Maybe there's something you didn't mention. What's the biggest problem, the biggest concern, the biggest fear you have?
So let me say, Moshe, if I can, what makes me feel better in the last 2 months, and that is that Israel showed the neighborhood, like they say, and we show ourselves as Israelis that we have the power. Yes, we suffered a horrible attack, but we fight back. And the military operation is going, from military point of view, it goes very well. And we succeed. We didn't finish the job, but we succeed. And hopefully in a few weeks, we will have the final victory. So from this aspect, I'm less afraid than what I was 2 months ago. There is a challenge we didn't discuss in this conversation, and that is, of course, the challenge in the north of Israel, Hezbollah, which is still there, which is keep sending missiles every day, and we actually didn't begin a full-scale war in the north of Israel. That is a threat which is still there. Maybe in a few weeks we will have the energy, let's say, to handle this front as well. But that is a problem that will have to be solved sooner or later.
Okay, Ariel Kahana, thank you so much for joining us. General Avivi, we're going to go back to you if we can for some closing remarks, please.
Yeah, so a question about the tunnels. The IDF is going to publish at a certain point more and more pictures about these tunnels, and we have different ways of dealing with them without endangering the soldiers. I cannot elaborate on those methods, but we do have many methods to deal with tunnels. But still, because some of them are very deep, it's hard to detect them. It takes time to map them, and it's a lot of time to destroy them. Even if we have the means, I would say it's an operation. It will take a very long time. Talking about the humanitarian issue in the south, the IDF issued a map that divides the south into areas, and when we attack one area, we tell the people to move from this area to a designated area so we can minimize civilians that are hurt. It's the best solution that the IDF came with, considering the fact that there is no motivation to let the people go out to the Sinai Peninsula, something that I think is terrible, because anybody who wants to leave the war zone should be let to, the Egyptians should enable them to move to the Sinai Peninsula. At the moment, it's not happening. We are focused on Khan Yunis at the moment, so we see more and more people moving to Rafah city from Khan Yunis, and this way we can do the job, do whatever we need to do while minimizing collateral damage. So this is what's happening at the moment in Gaza. Full readiness in all other areas, in Lebanon, in Judah and Samaria. We continue to operate all the time and apprehend terrorists. Today I was in the Jordan Valley. I went to see how things are going in this area. We see some buildup of force also in the northern part of the Jordan Valley on the border of Syria, something that we need to follow and see what happens with that. But other than that, everything is okay. Moshe, thank you.
Okay, Brigadier General Avivi, Ariel Kahana, thank you so much for joining us for this briefing. Thank you to all of our viewers and supporters for tuning in. We will be back with you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, for another war briefing. Stay safe, everyone. Stay strong. Take care.
Thank you.